Uh, we're starting, finally. We're starting.
Cool.
So, Luca, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Marco.
Welcome
Do I-
to Croatia, welcome to the world, welcome to YouTube, welcome to internet. Uh, so I'm very happy to have such an amazing young guest like Luca Boni. The reason why we decided to interview him is that we really dig the work that he does. So he works as a freelance illustrator. Uh, I love the style. I think it can be used for any kind of like promotional stuff, books, even used in some videos. You know, if a video editor is creative enough to use that kind of work. So I really love it. Uh, I didn't ask too many questions before this talk because if you've been listening to our streams, you know that I prefer like unprepared type of relation with the guest, very spontaneous. So everything that Luca will say now will is actually also totally new for me as well. So your questions are welcome. I will read them to Luca, and yeah, we can start. So yeah, just please introduce yourself. Like take 5 minutes.
my name is
Still
Luca
some
Boni.
time. Yeah.
I'm an artist. I recently quit my job to try and make money just drawing stuff. Yeah, and fuck, that's a hard question, dude. I don't know how to answer that one properly.
You may just imagine that I'm a beautiful girl that you wanna hang out
Oh,
with. So be
okay.
creative.
All right, cool. So I'm a millionaire. I'm self-made. Right, I'm like Christian Grey, from that book or that movie. But I told that was um, yeah. I don't really know.
South Africa.
Yeah, I live in South Africa. I wouldn't mind moving. That'd be cool. Uh, and yeah, if anyone's got a plane ticket, I'm there.
Yeah, so Luca is in search for new gigs, new clients, maybe even a new company. And
The audio cut out. Dude, the audio cut out. Oh no, the audio cut out. Oh no, I can't hear you. Shit, I can't hear you. What the fuck am I doing? Hey, I can hear you again, dude.
you can hear me.
Yeah, yeah. Shit's
You
going
can hear
crazy.
me. Okay. So you're like in the future, if this happens again, you just feel free to talk without me. Be creative.
Okay.
Uh, because of the crowd, of course. So yeah, what I was saying, like I have no doubts that you'll get like a really good clients in the future because you're like your portfolio. I'm following you on our art station is slowly growing. What I like the most is the style that you are kind of developing. This painterly looking style that it's when looking at your works it's not so easy to say for the first time to say okay, this is digital. It looks like oily,
All
like
right.
it looks very much like unfinished oil paintings. I mean unfinished in the sense that they're not like super realistic, so
I,
yeah.
yeah,
So
I mean, fuck, when you render stuff out and it just it takes long and it's I don't know like if that's what I want to do, is have these hyper realistic sort of things. I think sometimes like quick things look nice, and yeah, that's what I guess is is what I go for. I don't know.
I think that might be a good decision, because even if you were going after a super realistic, going after super hyper realistic results, it's a slippery terrain, because in the end, not everyone can do it, well enough, uh, and maybe, maybe because this way you're also much faster, even if you just when you're just doodling, that you can always stop at some point, and say, okay, this is a good practice for today. I did this like 12 heads, or whatnot, and you're not wasting time on rendering, because going after a hyper realistic result always steals like a lot of time. And for illustration, I don't think it's needed, you know.
Well, I mean, we've got cameras. I mean, we can just take a photo.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of. I guess you can do things realistic. I don't know. I just like, I think it's cool, but I don't know.
I really dig realistic stuff. I know a lot of artists who do it well. I admire that. I'm a I kind of, as the older I get, the more I respect the hard work put into something. So I even love the abstract art. But or conceptual art,
Yeah.
not concept art, conceptual. But I also love uh, watching the process of people who are doing like this painting, oil painting that might look boring to someone, but I really respect the amount of time invested in the, developing the skill set. So, is
When
that
are you talking about like those realistic, like if you have a photo of something and
even that okay, but I don't like, I mean, I don't prefer like this kind of stuff, when they do like family portraits, based on photos, and that's kind of boring, but I still respect the time invested, and the skill built. However, whenever I get a chance, if I get a chance to talk to the artist who does that, I always, some people really love doing it, but I always suggest, like, dude, I think you can do more, with your knowledge now, just like, if that's okay with you, I would suggest that you stop doing like family portraits, like
Oh,
that are like,
I mean, I will if your family's, if you're paying,
of course, of course.
and if your family's cool. I mean, if your family looks funny, I might even do it for free.
Well, some guys are doing like really good, earning a lot of money doing, like family stuff, even dogs and cats, and newborn babies, and I don't know, like, but like, in the end, it's not something that you would put in portfolio probably, but it
Well, I
pays,
don't know. I can't picture getting hired. It was like, oh man, listen, dude, I drew this guy's cat. What do you think? Like, can I work on Call of Duty like 11 or whatever? I don't
I know, like, since I just got back from the vacation, do you have these guys who are like painting on the street, so you just sit in front of them, and then, like, they paint you like with the pastels or something like that in, in like maybe 30 minutes.
Oh yeah,
And
that's crazy.
I mean, they are earning good cash for that, but maybe privately they're not doing this. They may be doing like some totally different stuff, but this is a good practice and maybe a good way to earn money if you just don't, if you are not
But like,
selling
I
paintings,
want do you think those guys like do you think they enjoy like drawing people? Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like
I think they see it as practice.
but I mean, like, I mean, you see like a 70-year-old guy. He's probably been drawing the shit for like, I mean, how long, like 50 years, and it looks
Yeah.
the same. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know that.
But I think that our generation, actually, like your generation is far from my generation, but since I'm much older than you, but like the internet generation, we are kind of cursed in a way, because like if you didn't have internet, and art books and stuff, you wouldn't know what the other guy on the other side of the globe is doing, so you wouldn't be like provoked to do something differently, maybe you would enjoy doing like street portraits, of small children and their pets. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to you. So tell me about influences. What made you start doing what you're doing, and are there any like old artists in particular that you like that influenced you?
Okay, so I guess I got into this thing doing. I mean, fuck. At school, it was like there was no way to go. I mean, I was not gonna. I couldn't focus in class. I would just be drawing the whole time, and like we had a computer class. So, I mean, just I don't know, just teach you computer stuff, and I just started messing around on Microsoft Paint, and I did bad, like horribly at school, and then I put together like if you can imagine like a folder with Microsoft Paint stuff, and then I just was told to go study 3D animation by a friend. He was like, "This is cool. This is what you'd be into." And I thought that that would be the type of thing which would it seems more like a job. Like it seemed more because it's probably more difficult. It seemed more legitimate. So then I did that, and then that was really cool. I mean, I learned a lot there, and there was this guy, man. He was really good at drawing. I've never seen anything like that before, and then I kind of understood that you got to like learn anatomy, and he showed me Photoshop, and then I started messing around with it, and from there I discovered.
When was that? Sorry if I missed.
Okay, so I'm 28 now.
Mm-hmm.
About 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So about 7 years ago, I started learning how to do this stuff, and then yeah, it was a cool thing. I mean, I remember doing this project, modeling project, and then I made this cathedral, and it was too big to open the file, so I ended up failing, which was probably like a weirdly good thing. You know how these kind of situations happen, and then I didn't I enjoyed drawing more than I did anything else. So a buddy of mine who's actually on this chat right now, he bought me a Wacom, like one of those ones without the pressure sensitivity and stuff. And he's always been super like supportive and stuff. And away Rick, and yeah, so he got me this Wacom, and then I just stayed at home, and I was like I didn't have a job or anything, and I just started drawing. And then about a year into it, I got a few little crappy pieces, and then I just needed a job now. My mom was giving me shit, and so I sent this portfolio, dog shit portfolio, and this company in Cape Town said, "Yo, come, you guys, you can come through." So
we need someone to make coffees for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that. But they were actually like, I mean, fuck, I would rather make a coffee there. I mean, they worked so long, like late nights and stuff, like human exploitation, like slave shit. Anyway, so I was working there, and that was really cool. I mean, I met a lot of really talented artists and all this kind of stuff, and that was really cool. And then that fizzled out. I think the company, I think they, I think they just went bankrupt or something. And then because we started doing like fucking restaurants and stuff that like the boss's side businesses that they knew the ship was sinking, so they were like, all right, cool, let's get this fucking anyways, get these dickheads to draw some stuff. Anyway, so that failed, and then I came back to Johannesburg, and then when I was here, I was in a similar situation. I was like cool, jobless, and just like, all right, what am I going to do? It's like, let's do like graphic design, I guess, because it's kind of, there's not really like any studios here or anything, or animation. There's not much going on really, and or people that need artists here in South Africa. So I just got on board with this really cool graphic design guy. I met this dude, and he was like so psyched on just like drawing and stuff. So he sort of he encouraged me to learn graphic design stuff, and I did the art graphic thing, but I would be drawing most of the time. And then it got to the point where I would just be drawing like only and when I'm supposed to be working, and then I just decided. I mean, I think I got to part ways, so I left that shit, and then I was desperate. I mean, this is recent, like last year. I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? So got a buddy, and he was like, dude, come try. You can do it, be an art director. I don't even know what that is. I was just like, oh, cool. It involves art. And
And you're a director.
yeah, I was like, it sounds fucking cool, like art director. You know, I was like, look, mom, I'm an art director. You know. So I went on to do that shit, and then that sucked like that because that was not. I mean, geez, you got to come up with a campaign for like a building warehouse birthday party, and you got to pretend to be excited and passionate about coming up with an idea. And it's just like, God, come on,
Sounds
man.
familiar. Yeah.
Let me draw like an elf or something. Like fucking, geez, what the fuck's up with this shit? So anyway, so that was quite a cool story actually. I was sitting one day, and I don't know the head, like one of the guys, he like looks off, makes sure everyone's working, one of those guys. And then he came past, and I was fucking supposed to be in a meeting because you go to like 1,000 meetings a day, like at least, and do nothing in the meeting. But anyways, you had to be there, and I was just like, I just couldn't do it, man. I just sat there, and he was like. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I was just like, dude, I can't do this. And I was really thinking about just like saying, fuck this shit. Like, let me just take my savings and just float this boat out of here and fucking work on my dream, this stuff. So I'm just, right now, I went and bought a new Wacom, and I got this awesome opportunity to do this chat. And yeah, just trying to get out there.
So
So,
of course, I wish you luck, with finding the clients and a new company. But in a way, I'm really happy that you're in the position that you are now, because I hope like that in a 6.
oh man, you cut out. Oh no, you cut out.
Okay. So apparently, can you hear me now? Yeah. So apparently, my super expensive microphone is causing problems. I don't know if it has to do with USB or what, So the way that I'm fixing, this is just by unplugging it and plugging it back in, So which is kind of dumb in 21st century. Anyway, you're here, right? I mean, I was just saying, like, did we lost you now? Let me check. Luca? Yeah. Anyway, let me just check with people if they can hear us. Can you hear? Can you hear both of us? Oh shit. You're swearing a lot, and then I started swearing. I Why can't we hear you now? Okay, let me. Okay, it's obviously a problem. So I put the slide back in, like a commercial, but they don't fit the format, So that we see this in the background. So I'll just do this transition. Okay, and then let's just try this again. Transition. We're just having a bad luck, Luca. That's all. They can't hear you. But Luca said sorry, so I don't know why this is happening. Now the problem is on your side for some reason, so I'm not getting any audio from you. I mean the OBS isn't getting any audio from you. Not sure why. Let's just do this. Let's just restart it and try to plug back in soon. Yeah, you can hear me, but something weird is going on with this. Not sure why. I think that they still can't hear you. They probably can hear me. I know this is really hard to experience for our guest, but what can you do? It's yeah, Luca says he's sorry again. Yeah, and I'm not sure why. Something is going really wrong with the audio, because like it's either mine is not working or yours is not working. And the weird thing is that I can see Lucas audio here in the OBS, but it doesn't show like any signal or anything, you know. What? Sorry, Luca. It also kind of froze. Yeah, let's just reestablish the connection. Hey man, we'll see. Okay, yeah, so we have audio and video. You know, like, let's just, you know, we can't do much about it, but I guess it's something with the internet connection.
My internet is pretty good on this side, but
yeah, not sure.
Yeah,
maybe the problem is I don't know. Like I'm afraid to restart the computer, because then we'll, you know, have like we'll interrupt the connection, the streaming will stop, and I'm just afraid to, you know, to do it, you know. Not sure if it will work on the YouTube side then, you know. So anyway, let's just continue and hope for the best. So yeah, what I was saying last is that I'm kind of happy for your bad current situation, because I'm hoping to repeat this again when you already have a lot of new clients and a lot of work, and I'm saying this because I'm like 100% confident in your case that this will happen like really soon enough, and this is just because of your recognizable style, you know. So that's definitely something I think you should go for in the future, and practice more every day, you know.
every
So
day.
yeah. So when I already mentioned the practicing and all this stuff, so what's your like daily routine uh, with that? Do you
So,
have some? Do you do like force yourself, to practice even when you're not really into drawing, or
yeah, no, for me, it's quite strange because it's never ever been something that's felt uncomfortable. I mean, so to me, when I sit down, I wake up in the morning, I try to remember my dream or something like that, and I get super excited, and I wake up and I come to my little office and I sit down and I don't know what I'm going to draw, which is cool because that there's something there like where you don't know what to do, and then subconscious comes through, and there's all kinds of things that happen, and I just chase that, and that's the daily routine. Just sit down like you would at the office, except do something really cool and get to explore all kinds of things. I'll
so?
do that. Yeah.
Uh, so like, uh, wh- I mean, when you pick topic, you said like sometimes you don't know. You probably just start, like drawing some lines or some color, and then build up from there. But uh, in time, I mean, the topics for your works, like what kind of themes are those? Like, is there something related to the real world? Is it like always something like undefined? I mean, we talked about politics before this stream and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Would something like that ever,
No,
like
so
motivate you?
yeah, so politics is like the thing that I would consciously avoid, like although like if it does come through, I'll let it happen, but I will never try to say anything politically because I just that's like it feels like, I don't know if this is a dumb thing to say, but it feels like propaganda, right?
I think
So
when you go into politics, like an artist, that right away you're just kind of marked, like
oh
so.
yeah, it's so bad, man.
Yeah,
It's not like fuck that, dude. I mean, no. So I don't. There's a space between like you're saying reality and that other side, and I think like I really think magic or whatever that stuff, like the specialness, it sits right in between there. So that's the idea. Is that how far you can push something into that dimension, into like the imagination, in the space of that world, and have it rooted in reality. So you still maintain like the obvious things of understanding anatomy or trying to understand things the best way that you possibly can.
did you ever think of doing something, even for yourself, for your own portfolio, something that is related maybe to some movies or books that you have read, like your version of it. So I'm asking this because I see artists very often like get inspiration from books and films, but also it's might be in some cases a smart way of promoting yourself.
Oh,
If you do something very familiar but in a different and in original way, like applying your style to it. So, did you ever think of going in that direction?
yeah, totally. I'd love to do book covers. I mean, I saw Nick Panemski, the beloved Lord Master of everything. He's got some really, really, really cool book covers. I think for I think it was like Centipede Press or something, and that really got me psyched. And I know Full Hale has done a Stephen King book cover, and I always often like look at book covers, and I think there's like a really sweet spot there, and I think that's cool. Yeah, I love that stuff. It's so dope. I would love to take inspiration from. I mean, because it just happens if you read something or watch a movie, you get so psyched on it, and then you wanna you wanna paint it. For me, it's kind of like I just kind of I don't I'm not really a fan of this fucking probably shooting myself in the foot, but I'm not really a fan of that like League of Legends sort of splash. You know what I mean? That kind of fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's being done. I'd like to try it, but I probably won't really look fitting in the image, the fuck, the visual like world that they've already created. So my elf will probably not work with, you know.
Is there an area that you would like to avoid when it comes to like would you like to is there something that you wouldn't like to do, for example, if you would get a chance to get hired by a like a video game company or I don't know
Uh,
like a,
no ways, no ways. I'd like to like try anything really. Challenges, challenges are cool, man. I'm
yeah.
down. And if I fail miserably and stuff, it's like, well, I gave it my best. That's cool. I'd like I'd even do it with dragons, anything, any of that kind of stuff. Elves, fucking. Sorry guys, I'm swearing. I can't help it. Yeah, any of that stuff. That's really cool. I mean, like on ArtStation, there was this one picture I saw. It's this lady. She looked like she had these like hoof things. Like she was like like half furniture, half ghetto. It was like wild. It's that world. Yeah, I'd give it a go. I'd give it a go.
So I mean let's like talk openly about let's say that right now at this point in time you actually have a problem to solve and that's or let's just pretend that you have a problem to solve and that's finding like the perfect clients or perfect gigs for yourself, because not just only because of finances, but also because like when you're working on something you're actually learning much faster than when you're like doing things on your own. And so uh, what what's your plan? I mean, like, how do you plan to reach the potential clients? Do you have any marketing strategy for yourself, or you just like decided just I'll just paint every day until something comes up and pop. Are you posting stuff around except the art station like?
So I just quit my job, so now I can. That's what I'm focusing on, right? So I don't really feel like a particular strategy. I know people build portfolios and then they approach like studios and they do that. I feel kind of like I want to get to a certain space where that I don't I don't need to do that so much. Like
Mhm.
so, like almost like improve my skills until it happens naturally. Because a lot of the things that have gone well for me have been sort of just approaching things from just the intuitive sort of side, and if a job comes up, it's like that falls in line with the meant to be thing, and
Mhm.
I'll work at it like that. But I'm not consciously fanning over like let's say League of Legends art or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm like I have to work there. I mean, I'd love to work at Disney. I'd love to work at
But like working for Disney, this would mean like this would definitely mean that you would get a chance to learn a lot about like
oh,
you would expand your skills. And but this also means a lot of compromise from your side, because uh,
I,
it's like
I would.
well known that their contracts are like you give up on everything that you do in the period while you're working for them, so
I
uh,
would, I would love that. That is, I don't know. I don't know anyone who would turn that down. That would
you
be so cool. I'll give up. I'll cut my finger off for that.
yeah, Disney come and punish me.
Yeah. So if Mr. Walt Disney, you listening, dude, listen, hit me up.
I wanna learn the hard way. Okay, so okay, I mean, we still didn't go public with this, but we can mention that Luca will be doing a proper online course together with us with the IFCC. It will be published on the IFCC Academy, and I'm thinking like out loud now. Maybe like I'm seeing, of course, you'll change your mind a lot of times before you define the exact shape of the course. But I'm just thinking like uh, maybe something like a series of like book covers, the existing books or maybe unexisting books might be, interesting for the course, or even like a alternative way of doing movie posters or any kind of thing like that.
I mean, that'd be a cool theme. You know, maybe we do like a little basics thing in the thing with a bit of a basic sort of tutorial, and then we work together with the people to try to figure out. I mean, this is how you do it. You know, like this is how to go about making a final image, and then break down all the basics so you can understand what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
I will write it down. I think we should, do a separate talk about this, you and I, and I think it's a good way of thinking. So, anyways, the question from Rick is, do you use reference for your character sketches, or are they from imagination? I just before you answer, I just want to answer that. You're like 27 now or 28? What did you say? 37.
Yeah, no, I'm 20. I'm 28 years old.
28. 28. So this is the answer. Like, how old is Luca? Okay, so about references.
No, right now I'm not using any reference. If I get stuck, I'm just doodling now. So, but if I often I would get bored of sort of what comes out. Like, so this guy over here, like on the right, I often draw like side profiles to like try. I mean, I hate him. He can go like, so I'd look at probably a side profile to get some more ideas, or someone with an interesting. I'd look for a reference that's interesting for whatever, and then I would use that to translate into a thing. But like I don't really like to copy like photos and just make it a painted thing, because I feel like apps will probably do that in a couple of years.
I think that it's the photos are like useful. I mean, I'm not talking about anything specific. I'm not talking about like concept art. I'm not talking about gallery art or anything. I'm just like I just think that like photos are like really useful for just reading the shadows and lights.
Oh man, totally, dude. Like that's everything, you know. But I feel like like a reference is cool, and you need it. You have to have it. I mean, because that's how you see the world. Everything around you is reference. So I just feel when people look at reference, and then they'll cut and change and sort of make it their own. That's super cool and stuff. But when we're talking about copying reference, like I don't think it helps like develop the spatial part of the brain where you can rotate an object in your mind. I think a lot of people get stuck where they see a reference and they're like, "Fuck, okay, what would this thing look like slightly like 2 degrees to the left?" And probably in the course would be cool to work that out. Is how we can deal with understanding objects in space, like not a crazy stuff, just how we could rotate an object and that kind of thing.
Guys, like the guys who are listening, you can suggest stuff for the course, because Luca is working on it and it's still a long way, so we might implement some ideas. The plan is to make it available at the end of November on the IFCC Academy website. So if you have any suggestions or anything, feel free to share it either here, or you can write an email to us. So there's another question from Victor, actually a question. The Victor says it would be amazing to get some insight on how Luca deals with shapes and simplification in his works, which is his favorite aspect of your style. And that's very similar to what I wanted to ask you about. Like how do you deal with the proportions of the characters that you're drawing, and or should I say painting? And can you share some insights on that?
Cool. So, okay, let's take this head that we've been doodling now to kind of understand, right? So, let's say that this is like this is a head, right? There's like ways to simplify things, sort of, which, so I mean, you can see that here's a shape. Let me get a different color. So here's a shape. There's like like a rhythm going on this side, or let's just say it's, so that's the sort of shape. There's like a fluidity on this side, and then sort of like a straightness on this side. It's kind of like the what's it? Kind of like juxtaposition or whatever it's called. Uh, and you kind of this kind of thinking happens often when you just paint anything. So if something's going like crazy here, and you don't really want something to go crazy here, there's not that you can't do that. There's no rules, but if you want to simplify things, that kind of thinking goes hand in hand. So like here's one shape, and if you want to simplify that, right, you can just go fucking straight. For example, so here we got this guy. You can just go, all right, cool. Fucking, let's just straighten that out, and then, I mean, it's got a sort of different vibe, and then you can follow, like, the way I do it is that, cool, there's a rhythm now going in this direction, which just put it, so now there's a rhythm going in this direction, and I would like to probably create a rhythm that probably goes in an interesting direction. So what I'd do is I'd mess around and see if maybe this would be cool like that, and then if you could, exaggerate sort of things and go like that, and just sort of like really explore like the geometry of things by creating like a consistency in the shapes. So I mean, I wouldn't like even this nose now. I mean, to me personally, I'd feel that this straight line with this sort of like realistically like a shape with a lot of form sucks. So I would probably like try, you know, see what it would look like if it were with the similar shape language that was going on here. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm rambling, but yeah, just let me know if it
Okay,
makes.
so like you're just like repeating what your head, what your brain is telling you. So, but additional question from me would be, if I got it correctly, you're not too much concerned about the exact or the proper anatomy, or like every bone in the body, or it's more like it's more like it's more like showing the energy of the character, the intention, the character of the character, and
Oh,
this is how I see it, at least, and this is actually what I like, because it's more towards like typical illustration, where the exact measurements, the exact proportion are not so important. The message is important. So
sure, no, exactly. So what's cool is like when you look at like Degas or like all the old guys. I mean, I remember looking at that shit and right in the beginning, I was like, oh, you guys have like what the hell? This guy doesn't understand anatomy. This is what's going on. Like how's this guy famous? But this it's still beautiful. You can't explain why, and then sometimes you just like something clicks and you're like, well, this is beautiful for other reasons. And like something doesn't have to be anatomically, in my opinion, it has to, like, that can be part of making something cool. Definitely, like anatomy is amazing, obviously, but that doesn't mean that's not the juice. I heard something quite cool. This guy was saying that um, there's nothing more amazing than somebody that knows the rules and then breaks them just enough.
mhm.
Then that's like where the magic comes from. Like that's where the cool shit happens. Is
Yeah,
that
when you examine some works of the some painters, like Picasso, you have his like old works from, well, he was still schooling himself, which look like any other studies from other artists, doing like drawings based on models, and then probably trying to do something similar to what some older painter did. And then after he was done with this, he started doing what he wanted to do, and that's actually what got him famous.
Yeah, and I really think that like in the beginning, like when you set that sort of bar, like when you want to learn the fundamentals, it's like it's hard for personally. That was my thing. It was like I didn't really understand it. I was just like, oh, I mean, go give me Michelangelo, give me like any of those, give me
Give me
those.
all the Italians.
Yeah, yeah. So no, but the Russian guys also.
Oh yeah.
Yes, dude. So I mean, I was just like, that's the level, that's standard, and the more you kind of look at things, you like understand that there's magic in that space between chaos and order, right? And that's where that's that like dividing divine sort of space where I don't know, don't get philosophical or whatever, fuck. But that's the idea, is to find something that it's not, and it doesn't have to be anatomically correct. That's not the goal. The goal is to is to explore and find beauty, like, or whatever, in a space of in an undefinable space.
Okay,
Like,
so we have a question from Rick. Do you start your work with an end product in mind, or does your drawing change as you notice different shapes, lightning as you are sketching? I guess this really depends if you're working for yourself or for the client, but yeah, please.
oh yeah, totally. If there's a client, I mean, then like what I'll do is I will. It depends the kind of client. I mean, if it's like a concept art sort of thing, then you go with exploring shapes and working with them to find if they're happy and that's what they're thinking. But if it's just like a cool loose clients and stuff, you can kind of just find a certain reference, and that's enough. I mean, that's enough to show them before you start. Like, do you like this vibe? Is this what you want? And then you just kind of do that. Not that image, but you go with that sort of style. You can just say, if that makes sense.
Okay. Uh, Victor says, thank you for the previous answer. Okay, let's move forward. So, you are all digital, right? You don't do any traditional techniques or.
I draw a lot in pencil, but I'm trying to learn oil and stuff. But I can't find anyone because I feel like I need to learn that from someone. I need to like I don't know. I mean, even mixing paints. I mean, I've been painting in like I had the canvas coming through and didn't really work out. So I got some like I don't know why that wasn't working. I thought it was just me, and then I figured out you need like a medium. I don't really know like what I don't really know that kind of stuff. I don't.
Yeah, I mean it's also a thing to learn. Just like you're learning software, Photoshop. It's also like, what do you mix the oil paints with? Why do you for what purpose do you use turpentine, or I don't know, all this kind of
Oh yeah,
stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
maybe like acrylics or gouache, or maybe more. Okay, gouache is a bit hard, but like acrylics are more forgivable, for. For a beginner, so maybe that's a good way to start with. So
You're a traditional guy, right?
I was, I mean, in the recent like 10, 15 years, I'm barely do any painting or any. I just do stuff for fun because of the festival and everything. I really can't find good, like. Time slot in a day to like do art, and then what I do when I got totally mad because of the event, and other stuff that we do, then I just start doing some art like with no plans, just like start doing it. Then like I stop doing everything else and I do some art for a week, and then I go back and work for like few months on something, because I really miss doing art, and but long time ago I just said to myself long time ago. Maybe that was like 10 years ago, or I don't know. I just said to myself, okay, like it's not so important to me anymore, you know. It's not, I don't have this drive. I don't want to be the best artist. I don't want to be, uh, I don't want to be, it's not important for me to be remembered as an artist. I just found some other things in life that I found like, that I think that they're like more important to focus on, you know.
All right,
And
cool.
I'm still not
But you could be
happy,
the best.
you know, where I am with that as well. So, but you know,
Yeah.
anyways, let's get back to Luca Boni.
Oh God.
Okay, let's talk about color.
Yeah, color.
So, how do you pick your colors? I'm not saying like how do you pick them in Photoshop and how do you mix them, but
So I use this color picker. No.
no, more like you know, like your decision when it comes to, you know, choosing the colors for the works you do. Maybe you can open ArtStation and show some works there that you did, and or in some folder of your, and then we can go through some of them, and yeah, maybe you can say something about colors and all the other stuff that pops on your minds.
Cool. So what was quite crazy is, I mean, I used to just paint a lot of like you were saying, realistic sort of stuff, like classicals. You know, I was trying to be Da Vinci, the real goal. You know, the first goal, I guess. And then it was quite strange, like how like so my sort of style, I guess, exists started manifesting itself. Was um, quite surreal actually. Like so, I was at my father's house and he found this block of Lego. I don't know if you guys can see it. So this is actually copied from a photo. This thing here, right? So this shit was actual blocks when I was a kid, and I had this like moment of this bizarre like nostalgia, you know. So I was like, fuck, yeah, I was gonna paint this. And then I got these colors and I was like, Jesus, dude. I mean, look, like, I just looked at one line while I was just zoning out on this crap painting. It's like, look at this, it's blue, cool. Blue and red, that's cool. Hey, look at that. I wonder if you could do a whole painting of just that. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do that. So I wanted to explore every single combination of this thing and see how it is. But I'm over that now. But I mean, like if you look at the bottom, it's like blue, yellow, and red. So I mean, there was for quite a long period of time there, I used this thing as the basis of the colors that I used, and it doesn't look like anything, but it's, you know, I guess it's you can scam some people into thinking it's some kind of abstract art, but it's actually my color palette for a bunch of these things. So that's how that came about.
That's cool.
Yeah, which was cool. And then I mean, it's just slowly changing it up and just seeing what I can uh, sort of do with color, you know. And with color, I feel like it's also got to be like simplified. So if we look at let's look at some reference paintings or some guys who actually know what they're doing. Where'd I put it? Inspiration. Okay, so look at this guy, right? Full halo, is it? Yeah. And then look what's going on there. It's like if your mind simplifies things straight away. So you got blue, you got like a dark color, and then you've got this. This is like a centerpiece for focus, right? So like look at that. That's like bang. That's the fucking money color. That's it. It's right there. We got that. And I just thought that was really cool. It's like, look, there's like three main things going on. There's a dark blue, like a white, and then that, which is four, but yeah. And that was really cool. I was just like, geez, that's it, isn't it? And I even looked at more complex stuff and um, like, I mean, this guy Ferric Pinter, this guy I found recently, but I mean, geez, dude, it's so striking and it's so simple and it's there. Everything is there. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be everything at once, you know. Um, I'm moving away from that now though, but that's kind of
But it's interesting to see, especially those more like simplified works, which can be tricky maybe for a beginner. You know, with like some some person that is only becoming an artist, when he or she sees something that's like simplified, it can be like a trap because it looks like very simple, and then the person might think, oh, okay, this is like few strokes there, and some color. Maybe it's not, it doesn't look that complicated. But that's what we talked previously about. It's, those guys like learned everything that they need to learn to be able to do it like that, to be able to simplify it like that and get good result out of it.
Sure, no, that's true. It's like yeah, oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say, but that is true. It's like you see these amazing things, and it's like it's not just. I mean, I guess with oil painting, you have to actually, it's the conscious decision, which makes it so much harder. You got to be like, okay, right, look, this.
Is this something from Russia?
This is Schmidt, Richard Schmidt.
Okay.
He's like environment guy. I think he's really really good. Um, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, these guys. Look at here. We got Nicholas Uribe. How do you say it? He's incredible. He's on Instagram. It's so cool. It's just the best. And then here's another Phil Hale. And then this guy Ewan Iglo. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but he's so cool, man. Like, I don't know if you'd like to show the nudity.
Recently, I've been following a guy on Instagram. Can't remember the name now. I'll send you the link. Total madness. You have to check him out. I can't remember it now. Sorry. But some of these works have like reminded me of him.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, you send it through. I want to check it out. Yeah. So wait, there's a question. Some of my favorite artists at the moment. Oh my god. Jeez. This whole folder is the best. I've made a collection of all the most amazing things, all nice things.
Let's open an image of like one of the images that you like really dig, and let's just go through it. Like what's puzzling you with the artwork, and what do you admire on that particular artwork?
All right, cool. There's one in particular I actually want to bring it up, which is I think so good. Right. Where is it? It's in this series, right? So it's probably this, dude. Is that there's so much going on here that I don't know, Photoshop. So you look at this thing, right? It's like I break things down like for composition in like a simple way. So there's this like hidden X, and it took me long to figure this out. It's because I didn't really look at Torah, but so there's a line going here, right, and then there's action going here, and everything kind of leads us to a point, where it's this focus, and I think that's really cool. It's like it's like the hidden X, like a treasure map, and I just let me bring up another one. This one's fucking hard. Someone who thinks, jeez, so good. Some cool concept stuff. Oh, I mean, here's that hidden X again. We've got like, I mean, you can clearly see if you follow these lines, you can see how that guy is the tangent, whatever. It's on the subject. It's his face, and it's just amazing. And here we got Sergei Kolosov is the best example.
Oh yeah, man, he's. I already said it a few times. I kind of love him and hate him because I was never good enough in reaching him and getting to the event or even to do like a live stream thing. But I really admire his work. He in recent year he started publishing a lot of more simplified artworks than what he did in the past.
I love it. It's the best. It's so good. I'm so happy he's doing that because it's like his entire knowledge and everything is in there, right there. It's like it's fucking there. Like
he's a actually good example of what we've been talking about in the past half hour. How he really reached the top when it comes to, probably he wouldn't agree with us. He would probably say, okay, I still have a lot to learn, but from the works that we could see on the internet, he really went far away with his let's say more realistic style, and then now he comes back with this more simplified, but he has all this knowledge inside of him, so I guess he can do whatever he wants.
I know, but I mean, you can see it though. I mean, just like look at this thing, for example, the composition. It's playful. He creates look. You can see he designs the shape of the trees. It's just like everything is understood. So like when you have a lot to say, you can. I don't know how to say this, but you can say a lot by saying a few words, if you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
more less is more, in short.
Less is more. That's it.
Yeah,
Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication
yeah,
and stuff.
that was Leonardo da Vinci or something like that,
Yeah, it was, it
or
was.
Michelangelo. Da Vinci, I think. Never mind.
And I mean, this guy's also just bring this up again.
But what I like about the that sentence is that someone someone probably in 20th century decided to simplify that sentence, with less is more, because, for example, the term less is more is so often used in graphic design, so someone simplified the sentence to just less
So we
is
got
more,
we
which
got to
is
cut we got to simplify that like
yeah,
even more.
yeah.
Make it like
That will be hard.
yeah. Yeah, man. So
Who
so
is
so
this? This is still Kolesov?
yeah, this is Peleng Sergei Kolozov, the
Pelling,
master,
the legend.
master, the king. Yeah, this guy's so good, dude. It's fucking crazy. Uh, yeah, and then this guy, the Spider-Man guy, fucking Spideyverse dude, Alberto Mielgo.
Oh,
I'm saying, do you know this dude?
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
He was a regular guest and still is of this other conference, which is a bit more famous than we are, the THU Trojan Horse. So he comes there very often, and that's why I started following him like from the beginning. And amazing talent, amazing these recent films that he was involved in, and all these other things, and also the way he influenced other artists.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't know how. It's really crazy. I don't know how.
You have seen the robots.
Oh
Uh,
man, that was so cool.
yeah,
I love. No, dude, that was the coolest thing on Netflix. I
yeah,
think it is the coolest thing on Netflix.
yeah. Amazing, really amazing. Especially his video was like really something different. Anyways, what's this?
That's Lucian Freud. Is that what's on? This is someone else. I forgot this guy. So if anyone knows, like, just tell me who this guy is because
I
it's
think
best.
Google. If you just put it
Oh
in the
yeah.
browser, you will find out. Uh, so like all these artists are inspiration for you, right? Motivation. Let's say motivation. Uh, when you
So this.
see when you see all these works, you just get like motivated and pumped up to.
Oh man, it's the best. Like if you don't like, you get those days where you're just like, oh geez,
Yeah, you can't do
like,
shit.
yeah, I can't do shit. And then I just look at this. Degas, Dega. Sorry, I'm saying
Yeah,
Edgar
yeah,
Degas
the guy, whatever.
is in my opinion, is the best right now. Like the ultimate. This painting here that I got up on the screen I think it's my favorite painting of all
Yeah.
time. And it's funny because it's like I probably would have hated it like 5 years ago. I would have been what, okay, all right, cool. It's just I just love the just the fact these light trees and just that direct your eye to this focal point, and then the guy's face is all it's not painted in really. It's just loose.
Everything is loose here.
Yeah.
It look even the landscape behind, it kind of stops. Where it's just like he didn't care too much. he didn't paint it between the horse's head and the jockey or the rider, but he might. I don't know what period is this. Maybe he was already like really old and blind and who knows what. But yeah,
And that horse's face on the right is wild, man.
yeah.
That's. I mean, if you're looking at that and you starting out learning how to draw, and you're like, okay, I can get away with a horse's face like that. I don't think your mom will let you stay at home, you know,
Yeah.
or if you draw horses like that. I think you have to more.
But this painting actually shows how like the story is always more important than the quality of the visual, and I think that like artists, especially when they're doing work of their own, should be more focused. Okay, studies are something else, when you do heads and that kind of stuff, arms or whatever. I mean, you can build a story from that as well, but it's always good, to have some interesting story behind the image that you're drawing. It kind of raises its value, I think.
True. That's the whole thing, the story of it. But I mean, they guys could paint like realistically, no problem, dude. And so this it's kind of like if you know the secret, he's showing us something beyond that now. And I really feel like when you look at this kind of stuff, it's easy to like say, okay, well, this guy didn't really like. Why is this famous? Is it it's just art gallery people? But no, but there's a lot going on here. And if you actually just sit and look at this, you could probably learn. You could probably learn the reason why you paint at all, like above above everything else as the most important thing. Is that the first initial, I'm rambling, but the first initial drive that got you to pick up a crayon or something whenever you wanted to do a drawing or just mess around, that initial thing is, I think, what you should focus on the most throughout your life. I think it's definitely the most important thing, because studying anatomy and stuff does suck. It's cool, but it does suck. And I think that a lot of people, like, I get a bunch of questions and stuff saying, oh, what do you study, this anatomy, this perspective and all that kind of stuff. I've never drawn anything I don't like. Same way as I've never worked in a place I don't like. You know what I mean? So this, when you look at the painting like this, it's like exactly what he likes, and I think that spirit is great. I really.
Yeah.
The chasing what you like, and if you like drawing owls, that's cool, and you probably should do that, whatever you want. But yeah, that's why I just think this painting is great.
So someone asked like, who are like just name a few of the let's say name a few of the living artists from your generation who you either look up to or like really admire.
Nicholas Uribe, is that how you say it? He's insane. I love him so much. It's so good.
Do you have can you type it in the chat of the YouTube? So
let me do it here. He's like I think he teaches people and stuff. He's so cool. Oh no, wait, here we go.
Okay.
He's oh god. Here we go. Go to his Instagram. I think this guy's the best.
Can you enlarge it or oh you have, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong screen, sorry.
So I'm obsessed with this guy. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Full Hale's still alive.
How old is he?
Full Hale, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about him. I went to the bookstore to find a book on him, but he only had a cover on a Stephen King book, and
it's so interesting, like with actors, artists, painters, then like writers. We're all actually in love with their work, and we kind of, before they die, we don't really care like if they're like have cancer or some problem in their marriage, or like if their I don't know, like head hurts. every day or whatever. We only see them through perspective of their art. So.
No, totally. It's great. I mean, it's like that's.
Who's that?
This is Dennis Sarazen. He's alive. He's on Instagram.
I think that's the guy that I mentioned earlier, that I couldn't remember the name of. He does a lot of fingers, arms.
It's so cool, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's the guy. Amazing.
He's super cool. Who else is alive? Benjamin Bjorklund.
Can you just type his show his Instagram whatever so we can see the name because Benjamin was at the IFCC one year. He was doing live demo here in Zagreb. We had him here. I love his work. Like, I love everything about his work, and I really hope that he'll just continue producing these amazing works of art.
Dude, what the hell? This guy is like the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. He's the best. So good. Jeez.
He had like a really interesting demo. I think 2 hours demo. He did live painting on stage with oils, and really amazing.
It's insane. I mean, jeez, look at this, dude.
We should invite him again, I think.
Wow. Can I come? Stand around?
Yeah. Let's see first what you do for the course.
Yeah. Who else is still alive?
Well, Peleng is still alive, I think.
He's alive, of course. Yeah. I'm thinking traditional here. I don't know.
Yeah. He's not a traditional. He probably does traditional as well. Maybe not, but who knows? I guess he's sketching at least.
So Sergei Kolosov, Peleng, the best.
Amazing.
Dude, Pyotr Jablonski. I'm saying it right. Jablonski.
I know who you think of. I love his old series with those streets and those graffiti on walls. This cat or something, I can't remember. In some some Slavic town or somewhere.
Oh man, so cool, dude. Yeah. And I love this. It's like that. This whale thing that he did is kind of similar to. I don't know if he took the inspiration from it, but I thought it was pretty genius. There's another artist called. Hold on, let me just think. What is he called? Richard Bunkle, I think. Let me see. Richard Bunkle. Yeah, this guy. So if you look here, there's like sort of, I guess it's just a whale, but he put like crazy sized whales in these environments. And I mean, geez, Nick Panimsky just took to that level, man. So sick.
Can you just open like full screen any of these images, either the last one or the one or the previous one?
All right, cool. So here it is, and then. Is this working? Full screen?
I just wanted to go through it a bit, to examine it a bit. So, I mean, there's so much going on the painting that you don't see actually on the thumbnail. So, there are like a bunch of people there beneath that whale. And, very, very, very interesting. The play with the shadow and light. And so, what's behind the whale? Is it a part of the boat or something?
So I think he used to draw like New York streets and stuff or something, and you would put these like objects and text in crazy situations, and like a whale and like.
Yeah, I see there that he also like combined something with the Chrysler building, I think, and the old locomotives and stuff. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, how cool is this? It's got that like. I love it.
Yeah,
I think he must be still alive. I hope so.
No, I don't think so. Or maybe it is because I sound dumb. I said I don't think so, but because this painting to me look like they're made, I don't know, like in 1930s, but they're probably something from a much newer date. So.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
The style looks kind of really old, like from the beginning of 20th century, but it could be like totally new. Yeah, cool stuff, you know.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can like go more in depth. Well, I'm gonna try to go more in depth into everything during the course. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't.
But
Yeah.
it's cool to examine such works. I mean, this is like really fantastic, this thing with the whale, and the way that he plays with the shadows and lights, and yeah, it's like it's really motivational, you know. I myself would like to start drawing now something.
I know it's crazy. Yeah, like there's something about some artists. It's like you look at their work and it's just like, okay, well now I want to go draw. And there's some
Yeah.
guys you like, I don't want to draw. I don't want
Yeah,
to. Don't want
they
to.
have this
Yeah, some
magic,
people are
you
just
know.
so good. It's just like, oh, oof, damn, what? Yes, like when the first time I saw Nick Panimsky, I was just like, no ways, dude. This is too good. This is just too mad. Like, how does God do it? You know? And then you want to give up and cry, but then you don't.
So I asked about, you know, like you said that you had some attempts of going of trying like traditional mediums and whatnot. Have you ever thought of doing maybe even something bigger, like murals, you know, like street art kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that, but it's one of those cases where I'd have to buy spray paint, and I don't really see myself waking up like on a Monday morning
Yeah.
going to buy spray paint.
But I guess that, you know, even with the, because your style would be maybe ideal for even using the brushes, you know, like big brushes. You don't even have to use the real spray paint, you know, because you could just mimic what you do in Photoshop, you know, with the big brushes, you know. So
If you mess it up and you got this giant wall, it's like it's a bit of it's crazy, man. Like you,
but you
like
know,
I mean,
I've been doing a lot of street stuff, you know, a lot of graffiti and, you know, like murals and that kind of stuff. And it's, in the end, it's much easier to do big stuff
really,
than
yeah.
the tiny stuff. You know, it's like because I mean, it's much easier to fix mistakes. You know, because everything is so big, it's so obvious. You know, and you can move away from the wall, you know, like 10 meters away, and then come back, you know, and so I think you
But
should try.
yeah, but you know, like when you see these dudes do these big murals and they're on that crane, like if they want to look at what it looks like, do they drive the crane? Like they sit in the crane and drive backwards to get a look at? Because like when I paint, I don't know about you, dude, but I go like crazy zooming in and out.
Yeah, but this is the same thing, you know. You just zoom in and zoom out. You go just go away from the wall. And when it comes to crane, I did like last year. I think I did a huge mural for money, you know,
Oh man, dude, that's so.
for the local Nike thing, something. I myself really don't like it, you know, because it was all about football and stuff, and I had only I think 5 or 6 days, and in the end I was like very unhappy with it. I got paid, of course, but it's I was on a crane, you know, and the thing is that it does slow you down because like you're painting this huge thing in front of you, like maybe a meter away from you, like half a meter away, and you actually don't see what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
Then you have to like, you know, pull these commands, you know, this thing, you know, with your arms, you know, and move away, you know, like few meters, you know, in the air. And this takes this process takes like few minutes, you know, and then you go back, like, so you need like, I don't know, like two, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you know, to go back to this spot, you know. So, and this can be like problematic, but then it's all about how you lay down your sketch on the wall, you know. And if you're like precise with that, it's much easier to fill in the colors, you know. And this is why, you know, people use different techniques, you know. People use, I don't know, like long sticks, you know, with brush, and then you're just like sketching with like you would with a pencil, you know, because like you're like 3 meters away, you know, and you see a lot more of the wall, you know. So, but I think like your style would be perfect for the wall, you know.
I mean, what paint do you use? Just like
Like
wall.
anything that you can think of, but mostly for this purpose I use spray paint a lot, but you if you do it with brushes you just use some paint that is for outer walls, you know, for the exteriors, you know. So any kind of of course more better, the better paint, the more expensive paint it is, the longer it will last on the wall. So
And if
uh,
and if you go like how if you go too dark, right? So when you do like an oil painting or and you want to go lighter or whatever, and you can't really go back. What happens?
you can't go into like settings and levels and that kind of stuff,
You got
but
funny canvas or this like your a material manifestation of the disaster. Uh, it's sitting in your room. So how with like wall painting would you cover up like a massive disaster, say it occurred?
but you know, for example, this thumbnail that you're doing now, like just imagine that it's like 5 times 5, you know. So and the same way you are not very precise here with the shapes, and the color is the same way that you would do it there, you know. So it doesn't matter like the exact tone, it doesn't matter, you know. I mean, only you know what the tone should be, like, and all the other observers there are just accepting what you're doing, you know. So you can't fail actually, you know. If you're like confident, you can't fail, you know. So you would probably would not worry about you know, the contrast and that kind of stuff, because it's a slower process, you know. And you would have enough time to fix it, you know, along the way, you know. So it's a different thing, you know. And what's good about it is that you're actually moving a lot more with your body. You're not sitting in front of the computer, and you would probably do it with some company, you know. You would have like friends next to you doing their stuff, you know. So this is why, you know, compared to the digital art, this is why I maybe prefer like this more traditional approach to creating art. But
Oh,
yeah, that's me.
oh man, you gave me a good idea there, dude. But I think I'm gonna try it out, man. Maybe it'll be cool. I think that's a cool idea. I'm gonna give it a go.
So you started this new thumbnail. This obviously is something that is developing more into the full body, and this doesn't necessarily is not necessarily connected to all these heads, these studies that you did before, right? Just
No,
like
this I'm just like brain. I'm just
emptying your brain.
yeah. I'm just emptying my brain and just playing around with shapes and stuff, which is partly like why I'm confused about like on a wall mural, because if I was to play with shapes, I would have to go to the bucket with the roller or the spray can and go pick up the white just to define this shape.
Yeah, well,
And
it's wise to have a sketch prepared, you know. So even something like this, you would bring it to, you know, some phase that you're satisfied with, and then you would go with this on to the wall, you know. But so, you know, let's just, you know, analyze the process of what you're doing now. So you usually start like with only 2 tones, and then you go as far as you can with it. Is that
uh,
correct?
oh no, no, I didn't know. I don't know why I did this. I think I've just been messing around with, because sometimes I could just take the black like a black thing just as a joke, just to find a sketch, and then I'll cut away with on the white and try imagine sort of, not like I really 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 enjoy doing this. Um, so I just sort of do this kind of thing, and then I envision the shape and just kind of, if the light's coming from like this direction, then you just kind of imagine object appear out of the ether by like putting down shadows and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just kind of seeing where that goes. That's like, it's a cool like mental exercise, like not even thinking about what it is, because sometimes there's like a lot of happy mistakes which can happen, and that's like the best.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that. So I can paint like in negative. You can define the base, whatever, by just putting in like contrast and that kind of shit. So the eye, you know, you get the idea. So that sort of thing can happen. But what we can do is, well, let's do let's just use this color for time's sake. We'll take this thing and then we'll go, all right, cool. What color should we use, right? So I'll bring this thing in. I'll go, all right, blue, yellow, and then I'll just chuck it down. I'll pretty much do an object within these two colors, and then like, all right, cool, it has a dark color like that, and then it's just kind of, you know, see what you can do with that, like, so less is more kind of thing, you know. And then I will try find a cool composition with using these things. So sometimes you can use compositional lines like we saw like here with using like a color. So we would have like a compositional line. Okay, this is rubbish, but we'll have like sometimes like if two lines meet, I don't know, is it called a tangent or something? If those two lines meet, like say you got these two things, and then it'd be cool to have like the subject matter with third color here, which will immediately make it, you know, it'll create like an aesthetic, I don't know what the words are, but you know, that kind of thing. So I kind of sort of play within those kind of things, unless I'm looking at like life and I'm drawing colors from reality, where I would go and I'd pick and I'd try to limit it as much as I can. Yeah, and that's really like how I do it. So when you look at these characters, I mean, cool, it'd be like, let's say he's shirtless and it's pink. I'd pink like the dark sort of undertone color, just for example. And then I wouldn't go straight like flesh. I would try maybe take some liberties and, you know, and use like a cool light, and then that just look like crazy. So then I'd color pick the dark color and then sort of find the cheesy color that I was going to go with, and then kind of just like wash over it and then try extract out that color which is probably bad, but without having to know what exactly is the in-between color of blue and red.
Do you use anything for like blending at this point, or you just, you know, you have your brush and you're working with it till the end of the process?
Yeah, so with blending and stuff, it's kind of strange. So if you see these two things, like if you look at this thing, there's shadows and then there's that kind of, I don't know, like ambient. I don't know, that's not the word, but you know, there's that like neutral value. There's like a value, and then you can go higher on that value spectrum. So you could put in a highlight, right? And having done this, you kind of know where your light's coming from, so, and you can lay that down.
And you emphasize the volume with it at the same time, and
yeah, exactly. And you could do this like until you get white, you know, and you can do this all the way. And then with the blending part, like, so this and this, they're obviously quite different. I mean, if your brush has got like pressure sensitivity, you can just kind of slowly paint and you know, and just kind of just softly, you know, get them together.
And that's what you usually do with in your process, right?
Yeah.
You would go like that.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I usually do that. But sometimes like what if you're doing if you're rendering out, like, for example, this stomach, right? So if rendering out, I mean, like, if you're putting in like crazy value contrast sort of thing, then that's quite intense. If you applied this to everything. And if you carry on doing that, you're gonna get like a rendered look, right? Like it's gonna, that's in essence what will happen. So what I try to do is that if there's a focal point or an idea within the image that I feel should be more rendered, like I will probably focus more on that, and then then you wouldn't have to like render out every single thing, like you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
which is cool. So that's also like a tool in itself. So it's kind of just a cool way of doing things. It's like it looks graphic, and if someone's paying you peanuts and you need to get something done, and and you just want to pump something out, you can convey a lot of ideas across just by messing around with using light in the simplest way to show form and the idea. Because right now this guy can have a cool hat, you could have it could be an elf, it could be a League of Legends character with funny arm things, all that kind of shit. So yeah, so using light and dark is really cool, and I think translating that to to color is see, I don't want to say I don't know if I'm doing it the right way. I'm still figuring things out, but I think if you pick this blue and you just kind of go, okay, well, keep it simple and just kind of scroll down to an exciting darker version of that color, you can pretty much apply this principle to that, and then and you can always look at undertones. So like if this was a yellow guy, I mean like a skin colored guy, then you'd be like, all right, cool, skin color. What happens like usually is something quite interesting where there's what's it called, James Gurney color.
James Gurney, yeah.
Yeah,
if you want to remember something about color and light, James Gurney.
it's just go to guy. So then I saw this and I was like, whoa, that's wild, man. So it's like the forehead is yellow, that is red, and then that is blue. And it's like, okay, cool. So when someone paints something, let's do this, right? If someone's painting something and it looks too fleshy and it just looks dead, I mean, you could so let's pick like the pencil flesh color or something, and you got this face, and then you pick the darker flesh color, and it just looks dead, that kind of thing. It's just dead, man. It's no life. But if you go to pick your yellow and you do what our man James is doing over here, and you go, all right, cool. All right, James, what are you talking about? You go, all right, cool. Soft light. You got soft light here. You pick red, because there's like the blood on the cheeks and all like the sort of undertone things that go on. And you pick the blue and you just turn that shit right down. You've immediately got something with a little bit more life, And obviously these things you can pick up and paint into your object. So like, I mean, the blue can carry on into parts of like the eye, and the red can also, they can start making friends. Yeah, and yeah, that's sort of my way of approaching color. I'm trying right now to get rid of this thing and focus sort of more on like Lucian Freud sort of muted colors and like gradual shifts in hues, So that's the vibe.
Okay. Just let me check if anyone was brave enough to ask any questions. Looks like not.
Is there anyone watching?
I think 20 people are watching now.
Hey, 20 people.
Yeah, so people come and go. Cool. Everyone, I really hope that I didn't interrupt Luca too much, and if I did, please forgive me, because I have this problem when I start talking, it's really hard to stop me.
No, man, dude, I'm so glad fuck, this thing is so awkward, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really know I'm not very confident with speaking, so it's cool that you're taking lead when it needs to.
So let's say I'm a client, you know, and I see these sketches of yours, and I say like, actually, I want something developed from this, but I want this guy, this guy in the middle to have legs long like a giraffe, Since you are in Africa, you probably know how giraffe's legs looks like, and I want, and I want those heads, you know, to have all different types of wings and that kind of stuff. So how would you persuade me that I'm totally wrong, or you would just say like, okay, man, you're paying, I'm doing it.
No, no ways, man. Like if it's a client, I'll do it. I'd love to do what they said, and it'd be cool. I mean, if their idea is crazy and it sucks, I don't. Then that'll be cool. It'd be cool to see it, what it looks like. It'll be cool to see if the giraffe head guy is is a really bad idea, because I think that if it's such a bad idea, it could be the worst best idea. Like if you watch that movie The Room with what's his name? Tommy Wiseau.
Not sure that I remember. I know the name.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi Mark. You know that. Okay. Anyway, so it's like the worst best movie ever made. It's this guy. Anyway, so
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I know. They made the movie about the movie
yeah.
recently, I think.
Yeah. So that guy, it's like it was so bad, it was good. So if someone's got a really bad idea, it's like and their client, I'm gonna give them the best really bad. I'm gonna give them their bad idea the best way I can.
Yeah, I mean, you can always, do it with your twist. In the end, it can turn up as a great idea. Like so bad it's so good. It's just like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I'm down on bad ideas. Well, yeah, some of them.
So have you tried painting? Like cars. Like buildings and that
Oh
kind of
man,
stuff. Does this scare you or?
not really, because like it's the way you approach it. So I don't know shit about cars, and there's this really cool. I'll show you this cool guy. He doesn't have enough. Like, oh god, I don't know how to spell this dude. Yeah, this dude. He paints cars in his style, and it's just cool, man. Like, look at another Polish.
Yeah.
So this guy's just dope, dude. I mean, his new stuff is so cool. So painting cars and stuff, it's rad. Like it's the same principle. So if you just apply like the understanding of finding form and stuff with
I already see some Volkswagen Golf.
oh yeah, it's so cool. His stuff is rad. Yeah. So the idea is just it's pretty much the same thing. I don't really with cars and stuff. I don't. It's bad. Like for a man, I'm not really. I have no idea about cars. Like I don't know. I don't even know what a 2 liter. Fuck. Like 2 liters. What it means nothing to me. So if there's like I'm always inside the house. So if I move to New York or whatever and I see a bunch of cars every day, I'm probably gonna start drawing cars.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I don't really like it's just a shape to me. Like I'll just it's a shape with things going on, and that's the way I treat this half naked guy. It's the same way I treat a car.
So the main difference, so like uh, the people that we gather on our events, they are mostly from the industry of like games and films, and most of them have very similar way of building their skill set. They you know they start learning something. For example, we talked about anatomy, now we talk about cars, and they all have this way of learning how to do it properly. It's very rare to find someone with like philosophy, like I'll do it my way,
Oh no, no, man, I'm really open to learning, but it's
yeah.
like I no, totally, completely. Like,
I
it's
mean, I
something.
mean, I just wanted to say, let me finish. I just wanted to say, and compared to the other type of artists that I sometimes hang out with, which are like illustrators, people doing stuff for newspapers, like people who are doing like CD covers or even book covers. Uh, they have this totally different approach, because they're mostly hired for their original style, so clients want them to do it their way, which is uh, kind of liberating in a way, because imagine like someone is hiring you to do your stuff, you know
Yeah,
and they want to apply it on their book or a CD or uh, so it's very interesting for me, to talk with these different groups of people, because I respect both, and the first ones, the guys from the films and games, they have more knowledge in their hands, like because
yeah,
they force themselves or others force them to to learn how to do things properly, uh, but then in a way there some of them lose their identity over time, because they either don't have enough time to work on their own stuff, or they just don't 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 feel like working on their own stuff after the job, because obviously they're all working super hard, so and it's very interesting, so I know if I were going after an art career, I think I would definitely choose the other option, to do my stuff for people, for those who want me to
yeah,
do my stuff.
yeah. Well, like what's crazy is like, look, I really like if anyone's gonna hire me, I mean, I'm totally like down on drawing owls and like armored woman, fairy woman. Like I'm down on that, but there is like a definite part of me where it's like I don't know how an artist, like incredibly good guys, like these guys are like they're geniuses, like they know everything about everything basically, and it's I don't know how those guys can be like, all right, cool. Today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to draw like everyone else. Like I'm going to sit here and I'm going to draw this mammoth, or whatever, or even a cyborg of like I don't know how they do it. Like it's crazy. It's like I get clients want it, but their personal stuff sort of seems the same. So I kind of gravitate towards more traditional classical painters where and illustrators, people who want to paint their own thing.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, like those elves and all that kind of stuff that you see on around that kind of stuff, that stuff must have been like that stuff came from someone who was painting their own stuff, and everyone's just beating like repeating that style. So I think that if you've got a brand like Blizzard or whatever, then you're gonna it works. The money guys say, all right, this brings in the cash, and we got to get more guys who can draw this and stuff. I just don't know how the artist like does it. I don't know how you can do 2 years in painting. I'm pretty sure it's pretty heavy on them. I'm assuming like because I fuck dude like man. I get like halfway drawing an elf face and it's when I'm vomit. Okay, poor elves. The elves haven't done nothing. You get cool elves, but I mean, like, yeah, I don't know how. I don't.
This is the thing. It's a very competitive field. Let's call it like that, where you are just kind of forced. Even all these guys who went to schools like Art Center in the United States and others, they're like so like people who are teaching them. They're kind of like it's more like a military approach. Like today you have to draw this like 100 times and blah blah blah. And it's I've talked to some of them who went there, and even to some who with some of them who teach there, and it's very hard, you know. Some give up, you know, because there it's like it's too much pressure, you know, on their brain, you know, like because, but you know, that's the only way to build a hard worker, you know, who will then join, you know, the industry, you know, and then try to be the best he can. But then the question always is like, is this the point of why you decided, is this why you decided to be an artist in the first place? Is this what you wanted, you know, like and some guys are, some guys, some girls are motivated with video games, and they want to do, and they want to work in the industry because they see those characters they like in video games, and they want to do it, you know. But my problem is, you know, always the same, and I don't want to sound like I don't want to insult anyone, or I don't want anyone feel bad, but I always kind of motivate people to try to do their own stuff, you know, not necessarily connected to the, you know, films and games, or even to the styles that are, you know, cherished in these industries. But you know, like, you know, think outside of the box, you know. I mean, it's a stupid phrase, but it's smart phrase, but maybe not appropriate for this occasion. But you know, like, let yourself go, you know. Do what you are doing now, for example, you know. Just, you know, do your stuff, you know. Try to do something relaxing for yourself, you know.
I think a lot of people, like, they a lot of the struggle and stuff that comes from, like, oh man, you know, like this. I mean, how good can you draw like a warlock? I mean, what's going to happen? Like, it's going to be the most epic warlock in history. It's like, okay, that's cool, but are you gonna really do you really like warlocks? That's someone else's fantasy. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know if they like, you know what I mean? I don't know if these are things that existed in human history to the point where they should be redocumented forever. So I just feel like there's so people are more interesting than that, you know. And I think that an artist is more interesting than that. Like, I feel like there's a path sort of that you take, that your impulses can drive you. And I feel like, yeah, cool, you play video games and that's where inspiration comes from and stuff. But I don't get it that you can do it, dude. I don't know how an artist, someone who chose the hard way, chooses to do this shit. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, we are all individuals, so like, it really depends. The motivation, you know, for each of us is totally different. Our goals are different, I guess. So even if sometimes we, you know, like, we don't understand why some people are doing the things they're doing, you know, they probably have like a good enough reason to do it, you know.
It's all taste in the end, you know. Like, it's all like, it boils down to like whether you have good taste or bad taste. And like, I mean, if you look at like if I look at my older paintings or whatever, I just look.
Are you painting a warlock now?
I'm gonna try painting an elf maybe while we talk about it.
Okay. So let's see the question from Nuclear Divide. He just showed using soft light to add color. Oh, that was like half an hour ago, but I guess this question is also from half an hour ago. So he just showed using soft light to add color. Are there other situations where he'd need to use the actual color layer?
Soft light is a cool way just to add something to it, but if you put soft light on something, it kind of it's not like a definite line. So for example, it's like a soft overlay glaze kind of thing. It's not its own singular like brush stroke, if that makes sense. So if you look at this, and probably should do something with color, but if I put like a soft light over this, right, and I would say, okay, let's go a little yellow on this thing, right, really cool, you know, like soft light. Then what's going on here is weird because it looks like you've got a Photoshop layer over, it looks like you've got soft light or something like transparent layer on. Because if you were painting this in real life, it wouldn't you wouldn't have this effect. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have the values underneath it coming through. Maybe I'm talking shit, but I don't know. This is the way I see it. So, like, you can do that, but what happen is I would probably like paint that away to make it its own thing and just use it as like a sort of visual cue. You know, where the question is, do I do that to add color? No, I'd probably just get the color itself, and there's a million ways to do it though, but like probably add the color, like actually paint it in, or just like select the object and then mess around with selective colors. Cool, I figured this out the other day. It's pretty sick. You can do cool stuff with that. So if you got like a blue torso and he's like sick or whatever, then I'd do it like that. I mean, you can add color, pretty well like that. There's a lot of ways to add color, but I think I think picking the color and just putting it on from your color brush and actually painting it on as if you were painting is a cool way to do it. I don't know if it's the best way to do it. I think I prefer that. Then and you can always mess around with like the overall images, the colors afterwards with using one of these what are they called? Layer things, layer effect layers, you know. But this is like all very technical. I don't really. I don't think it. I think there's more information in this than there is like a Degas painting than there is than there is learning tools and stuff. I think, yeah. I think it's better to apply it this way than it is to learn how to fiddle with effects to get results. Because, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that helped you answer the question.
The nuclear device says, "Oh, okay. Thanks for explaining." So, I guess it was useful.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. We don't have any more questions here. How about environments?
Okay.
When you're putting your characters into environments, like is this like something that's like problematic for you, or you have no problems with that? You already know how they would fit in and where they would fit in. Because since you like, I understood that you're doing a lot of it from your imagination, so I guess you don't have like the proper plan right from the start.
Yeah, fuck. You see, so like I spend a lot of my time indoors, so I don't really go out much, and it's South Africa. No one really, it's like, you don't really go out. It's not, you stand inside, I guess. Well, I do,
You stand
So
inside and you don't open the door when
yeah,
someone knocks.
my whole life, dude, it's just fucking inside. Like, dude, I go out. The only time I go out is when you get drunk or
Yeah.
go to a friend's house. It's like just that's the case, So I don't really, to me, environments. It's like it's. Maybe I don't know. I'm just assuming, but it's generally it's. I want to go out and look at it and stuff, but because the principles apply from like the same thing, but I don't know. I feel like I've just been more taken aback by the figurative stuff and stuff. But lately, all I want to do is actually paint environments. I mean, uh, that's really the goal. I plan on like painting environments, man. Like that's the goal with like the characters, everything. And I just kind of feel like every time I approach something, I kind of explore something, and it's just like to. I don't know if the final. I don't know if it's meant to be a good picture. It's more just to be a. It's just to learn. So I feel like everything I do is sort of like a study of something, as opposed to like, all right, here we go, fucking hang this on the wall. So to me, painting environments and stuff would be cool. I'd like to go out and actually paint environments and study it and stuff. But I don't really feel like going to a shopping center or a mall and with my paints and sitting there, or the park where I don't know.
You
It's
don't
just
use like tablet or something for your
appropriate.
art.
No,
You
I'd
don't
love
have
to work.
like iPad or
No, I'd love it. I'd love one though. So if Apple, if you're listening, yeah, no,
yeah, well, but I mean that's definitely something. This is what I said to Ramon Nunes as well when we did the live stream, and actually he was a speaker or the instructor. We called him instructor in 2019. He was instructor at the IFCC a month ago. So he met guys from Procreate there, which is the app drawing app for or painting app for the iPad. Amazing thing, and
sick.
this is what I suggested him as well to try to at least test it, because I think for guys like him and you, that's I even think it's maybe more advanced tool than Photoshop, because you're actually using probably 1% of what Photoshop offers, and Procreate and some other apps for iPad are actually built around the idea to use this 1% of Photoshop, that's used that painters and other artists are using, and then improve it, and give more possibilities for authors, for artists to paint. So I think a lot of tools in those apps are like even more advanced than Photoshop. I mean, and the ability to just carry the device around, like it's very light. You have a stylus, which is, in my opinion, is even more advanced than Wacom's, and so yeah, if you have a chance, I'm sure that in the shopping malls where you go, they have like this stores where you can test, and many iPads actually have this either Procreate or something similar installed already, so you can just go and test it, to sketch something. So I don't hear you very well. Not sure why.
Sounds like you're at a train station, dude.
Man, I'm not sure what happened. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
perfect, dude. Oh man, I'd love to, dude. I just bought myself a Mac,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, and it's fuck, dude. If I knew that, like, probably would have tried that out. But I need a PC sort of thing. So if I got like some money to burn, I'll go straight away and get one.
I think you have like. I'm also a PC person. I mean, I just got more used to it, but I like some of their products, and especially iPad. And so you have like this iPad Mini, I think, like a smaller version, which is like half the price, I think, and it's really good enough to do like this type of things that you do here, So
Oh man, that sounds so cool.
yeah.
Look, dude, shit, you get one.
Let me check. I just noticed that it's like that we've been on air, I think, for 2 hours now, and if I want to avoid to be assassinated by my wife tonight, I would have to go home soon. So let's just check if there are any questions. Uh, okay, cool.
PC mastery, I know, guys.
Oh, we don't want to start this war here.
Yeah, no, PC's probably better. I don't know what I'm doing. I just got a Mac because it comes with everything.
No, Macs are okay. They're like well built machines and amazing software. So I don't have anything bad to say about Macs, but I prefer PC. So anyway, thank you for joining us. You guys will hear a lot more during Lucas IFCC Academy course, and we'll do some more live streams talking about the course soon.
Cool.
Okay, the Svenki says the latest mini is what? I guess great. He bought one. So Svenki is my associate here in Bunica, in Bunar Studio, and yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, I don't know for others, but I'll definitely be following you on Instagram and ArtStation, wherever. Love your style, Luca. I wish you all the best, with new clients, and I hope that some big company will hire you soon. And yeah, that's it.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you, dude. Fuck, I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much for letting me swear and letting me like an idiot. And I hope to do something like this again soon. And it was super cool. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and sorry for interrupting, guys. If you have any suggestions for what we might cover in Luca's course, you have comments area below the video, so leave your comments there. We'll read all of it. We might even write back to you, and because if you have anything to suggest, now it's the time. So, yeah, that's it.
that's cool. Yeah, you can probably like follow me on Instagram. I don't know how many people watch this, but if you go on Instagram, you can actually ask me personal questions. I try to answer them. So if you got
Can you type it in the browser so people can see?
so, uh, uh, what's the it's this one. So, Art of Luca Boni. So, if you got like any questions or suggestions for what you guys want to cover, then you can just send me a little note there, and I'll make sure to see what I can do to address that and help you guys and help myself as well.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Stop
Ciao.
streaming now.